da. We're big, we're bad, we're back. It says we're previewing, but I know it's actually working. The wonders of YouTube. How is everyone? How are you all? Are you all doing marvelously well? It is Tuesday at 10:31 in the morning here in sunny Los Angeles. Angeloons or Angelus? Hello there, Tom. So excuse me, I'm a little hoarse. I was on quote unquote vacation, or as we like to say in Great Britain, holiday. I was on holiday, but those of you that have kids know that when you're on holiday with your kids, it's not really a holiday. So, but it was a lot of fun. We went somewhere where there was lots of snow. Los Angeles has typically been raining a lot here. Not particularly Los Angelian at the moment. But to cut a long story short, it was nice to get out and see some snow and have the kids have some seasons, which is unusual. A pony. Hi, Warren. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Michael. Hello, David. Hello, Todd. Hello, Martin. And Martin. Martin says he's going on holiday next week without the kids. Nice jacket. Thank you, Kevin. Actually, I was talking to the Matthews this morning, who are all back in Ireland at the moment while we're finishing off the record. We have some really exciting news, and that was really wonderful. I can't share it yet, but it was really good. Enrique, David, Clint, hello. Hello, Kip. Hello, Jorge. How many snowballs did it hit me? I think my son threw one or two at me. But anyway, to cut a long story short, I'm a little hoarse, a little tired. The throat, probably it's shouting things across, mountainous regions of snow. But all right, Tom. Well, we'll see you later. Hey, Ted. Hey, Riot Girl. Hi, Shining Hour Pop. Who else is here? Arthur. Arthur, we'll see you in a couple of months. That's gonna be very exciting. So we're doing a masterclass. Hey, Laureanus, we're doing a masterclass in Berlin at Hansa Studios, and very, very excited. Sam, actually, can you text Sam and tell him I'm on the live stream? Is texting me, and we're just figuring out where we're going to stay in Berlin. So very, very exciting. So yeah, very, very exciting. And sorry, Anita, you're on a laggy computer. So very exciting, and we're going to see Arthur there. Who else is coming? That yodeling, Adam? Yes, it might have been yodeling. Hello, Country Tea. Sheila. So Dad got popped with snowballs, of course. Yeah, it's going to be rather fun. Should I sing something? Sent you some questions in the mail for it. Tuesday, as the Brit chick says it. I do say Tuesday, yes, it's Tuesday. I say tuna, Tuesday, tune. I tune the guitar, and I eat a tuna sandwich on Tuesday. That's exactly how I say it, yeah. Yes, Achtung Baby was done in there. But also, most importantly for me, or as importantly, I should say, Bowie did 3 albums there. So I'm very, very excited. Yeah, and Fabio, you hear Fabio? You're going as well, aren't you? Oh, okay. So, Matt, you have to unlist the video. It's still unlisted. You have to list it. Yep, it's not. YouTube will not tell anybody we're watching it. Matt, unlist the video. Put it public. Yeah. Let me see if I can do it on the cell phone. Sorry, everybody. Eric's got it. Ay, caramba. All right, so... You got it? Yep. All right, should be public now. Thanks, Matt. All right, so... And thanks for pointing it out. I appreciate it. You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish. Well, that's good. Berlin, yes. So those of you that are here that are going to Berlin, I'm very excited to see you. So we're going to do a couple of things today. We've got a song for Academy members. You'll probably already know this. It's by Alex Calise, and it's called Fire. At least I think it is. It looks like Eric has erased the title of the song. It just says Alex Calise. It's Fire, isn't it? We're doing?
Yeah, Fire.
Okay, I'm just going to retitle it so you guys asking will know. Hold on one second. Save as Alex Calise Plaps live stream. I'm going to put .fire in caps so we know what it is. There you go. All right, so this song is Fire. This is a song I wrote with her. So give me a second. I'm going to come up here. Hey, I'm up here. Okay, so this is a song I wrote and produced with her. Now, a lot of you will know it really depends on the process, but when I'm writing, I'll often just write the song, you know, acoustic guitar or electric guitar and vocals with the vocalist, put down a rough idea, they'll go and sing, we'll start tracking, and we can sing at any time. To me, this is a really, really important thing for us to talk about. It's like, you know what, this is worth going back to full camera. Back to full camera. This is something very important to talk about because I get asked a lot about production. Not just mixing. I think one of the beauties that we have is that, you know, I am a full-time producer and this is what I do every day. So, and I'm not a full-time YouTuber. So what I mean by that is like, you know, I don't, unfortunately, probably for me, I don't spend the whole week thinking about what really cool YouTube videos I'm going to do. I tend to just sort of show you my work process and give you the reality rather than the sort of like professional YouTuber version of what's really happening. So the way that this song and a lot of songs happen for me is I pick up a guitar or keyboards, but usually guitar because I'm a better guitar player than I am a keyboard player. And I sit down, the artist sits down over there, I sit opposite and we start writing a song. So let's go back to here. And I'm going to play a little bit of it. I'm going to pop on the headphones and we'll talk about the process. So here is an acoustic that I put down. It looks like we need to do some panning. Let's find the basic elements of the song, which is worth knowing, really, for when you are working on stuff. You know, what is the basic elements of the song? So I'll start playing it. You're going to find that I'm going to start moving things around. The L2 is on here, but as you can see, it doesn't have any limiting on. I can actually turn that off if you like. So remember, this is just the basic tracks. No compression, no EQ, just as it was recorded. It's about to get super loud there. Okay, so the basic way this song was written was just this acoustic. Let's have a quick listen. Okay, so that's actually a doubled version of exactly the same acoustic. So why would I do that? Well, I think I would do that because I would have put a little delay on that probably, which we can do. But let's remove that for a second. So I'm actually going to mute it. And here is another acoustic. And just to stop, because I see people are talking about the mixing. So just so you know, this is one of like 30 or 40. I think we're up to about 40 now. I think it's about 40 multi-tracks that we have inside of the Academy. So many of you that are watching are Academy members, so you'll know that this is, you know, some of you, I think somebody's saying it, actually mixing it at the moment. It's an older one, meaning it's been up for a year or two, but it's a pretty fantastic song. Nicely asked, Kevin. I think Matt, he's asking if you can approve his membership, please, to the Academy Facebook page. And so what Kevin is pointing out, we have a forum inside of the community, and on average, we put up a multi-track, there's about 400 to 1,000 comments that go on it. So it's pretty active inside of it. But then we also have a Facebook group for those people that want to talk inside of Facebook. Also, we're launching the new Academy, which is going to have the ability to talk inside of it and notify each other. So it's pretty exciting where we're going with it. But it's been a good slow build. The Academy now is about 2.5 years old. It's an amazing community. So let's have a listen. No, I think what Kevin is saying, Anita, is he's saying to Matt, can you please approve my membership of the Facebook group? So that's kind of one part that I like. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pan that to the left a little bit. So it's about 50%. And I'm going to take this main strumming acoustic and go the other way. You can definitely do that as well, George. You can definitely put your own mixes up, and people will, also help you out as well. In the Facebook group, people do that all the time. I think ultimately the reason why we all mix the same song each month is it's easier to learn that way, because if there's like 100 or 200 different mixes of a song and people are commenting, you can find the information out so much easier between everybody, Now you'll notice on this bass line, I went all out kind of Cure meets Joy Division meets New Order. With a little bit of, yes, you guessed it, U2. So what I'm doing here is I'm just panning things around, bringing down volumes, getting it into a place where it sounds like a song. You can definitely, there's a lot of collaboration that goes on, and I'm sure one of those can be also helping each other write lyrics as well. Okay, so I play drums on this, and my groove is super, super simple. So if I just play you, for instance, my performance, snare top, snare bottom, hi-hat, overheads. So there's no toms on this whatsoever. So this is just my live drums. So really, really basic. Just good old-fashioned Warren playing drums. As you can see, I don't play that aggressively, so that main snare that came in is a snare sample, which is giving it a lot more aggression. I have a lot of good friends that use Reaper and love it. Cool. So you're getting the idea of the track. There's a Johnny Greenwood kind of crazy keys that guitar that I'm playing there. And then I added some really basic keys. Have a listen to this. So really simple programming. Then I did a mono string lead using Expand. And what I wanted was like a Moog Opus sound. You remember the Moog or the Moog Opus? It was this it wasn't very successful because it came out in the very late 70s, early 80s when everybody was starting to get super digital. But it's like a really deliberately cheap sounding synth sound, like string synths. Have a listen. Thanks, Andy. I appreciate it. Name of the tune is Fire, and it's by Alex Calise. And if you're an Academy member, you can go in and download those. All right, so it's super basic. Let's have a quick listen. Take it out of solo and have a listen.
I'm burning so bright, I'm alive, oh, the very first time I'm on fire, I'm going to...
Okay, so what's the main thing we can hear here? I think the main obstacle we have to overcome is the fact that the bass is like, you know, played with a pick, and it's me playing. So the main obstacle I have to overcome is I need to give myself like some low end, you know what I mean? I need to be able to, you know, I need to sort of get some low end because I'm playing like open string stuff, like here on the guitar, you know, I'm like a... And the problem with that, with the pick on a bass, is the low end disappears. So I think most important here, I can hear all the guitars. We got driving guitars. We got like U2 fast stuff. We got Johnny Greenwood Insanity. We have all of these things. Yes, Ken, we did use the 1173. We used a prototype, which is over there. There's a prototype over there. We did use it. I love it on guitars because it's like a color box. It really adds a lot of grit and distortion and everything when you drive it hard. That's sort of what I like. It's what I like a lot. So on guitars and vocals, and on the vocals, they're super upfront as a result. You know, really, really upfront. Okay, so basically, getting back to that, I think the things that we have to accomplish listening to this song is we need to get the low end right. So let's go in and get that kick and that bass guitar to work with each other. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually just grab the bass here and pull it up towards the kick. Now here's the live kick here. Let's have a listen. yeah, I mean, I'm not going to win any awards with my kick performance there, am I? It's just, it is what it is. Let's have a listen to the bass. I haven't got to the vocals yet, because what I did is, like, for me, there's no one way to mix a song, but we listened to all of the tracks together. And the one thing that we felt listening to all the tracks together, the low end wasn't right. And we need to add some girth. I'm not worried about the vocals. I can hear that. I can hear that the vocals are going to take us to a place that we love. They're super loud, super fat recording. But the low end in this song is kind of It's not good. It needs some love. So I'm going to concentrate on getting the low end and building it from the ground up and giving it some girth. Okay, so... And just to remind you, you'll read all kinds of forum stuff of people telling you, what's the best way to do something. The reality is there is no one best way. What may work for one song wouldn't necessarily work for another. I think that's a very, very important thing that we like to talk about in the Academy, is that kind of stuff. Okay, so, all right, I'm going to listen to the bass a second. We're not starting from the vocal because we don't hear any issues with the vocal. The vocal itself sounds absolutely massive. If I solo the vocal for you, it is huge. It's recorded with the 1173, so it's got so much.
I'm on fire. I'm burning so bright. I'm alive. Oh.
I mean, it's huge. Really not a problem. So there is no one way. Now, I know there's a lot of experts that will tell you there's one way of doing everything. There is no one way. And in this instance, I'm being very, very specific that I want to start getting the low end right, because there's a total lack of low end.
I'm burning so bright.
There's no like, boom, but I don't want to change the parts. I want it to sound like loose and performed like it is. So I don't want to necessarily resort to adding like a boom, boom. You know what I mean? That would be a real cop-out to put like a bass synth in it. It would ruin it. I want to try and mix what I've got. Now, I could put a bit bass synth in there, but I'm not going to. It would be a last resort. So let's do our usual with the bass. So we're going to actually duplicate the bass track here. And I'm going to do a couple of different things. First of all, I'm going to grab just one of the DIs. I just duplicated the bass. All there is one bass DI. I'm going to grab just an REQ. As you know, big fan of simplistic plugins that you know and use every day. I like the REQ. I like what it does. So let's go in there and take it down around about 200-ish and have a listen. Now, I actually don't think that's sub enough for me. So what I'm going to do, this is unusual, I'm actually going to go a little lower. Let's go down to like 118. See, I like what it's doing there, but I don't. So now I'm going to turn it into an REQ4, and then I am going to go to about 60 and actually high pass, and then come in here and boost this up a little bit. I'm doing all kinds of crazy on this. So now let's go and grab the R bass. Now you can see there's quite a lot of excessive low end. So I want to control that. So I'm just working on the low end only on the kick drum. So let's have a look. Let's see what we have. Let's grab the Dyne 1 for a second and just see if this can help us out. Yeah, it's pretty good. Still not what I want. I like it. I'm going to experiment for a second here. What I want to do is I want to compress pretty evenly the low end. It might be just to reach for something like an MV2, but I'm not going to get there yet. I'd put the MV2 at the very, very end. So, yeah, let's try... see what else we've got here. Give me 1 second. Oh, I just saw the MJUC, which we love. You know what? Let's try something really dumb first of all, just to see if that helps. So the dumb thing would just be to grab a free compressor, such as the Bomb Factory 1176. Which is actually doing the job without using dynamic compression. It's now evening up. Have a listen. And that's just the stock as it comes. Okay, so now we have like low end control. Now what I want to do is grab another REQ, just because it's basic, does the job, and go in at about 120-ish. Now what we have is 2 ways to control our bass sound. Love it. Okay, let's do a couple of other things. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually duplicating my DI again. And I'm going to throw, I've already high passed this one, I'm going to throw an amp sim on it. Let us go and grab, what can we have? Bum, 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 bum. There's guitar amp. Yeah, let's just go for a guitar amp. Now I'm going to take the camp off, and I'm going to go and grab one of our cabs here. So I'm actually going to put a cab that I know and use myself. Why the heck not? Da 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 da. Da 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 da. So, you know what? I'm gonna go. So that's an Ampeg SVT. Pretty meaty. Add in. Now I'm just blending to taste. I'm going to take this middle one which is super dynamic, and just copy down the 1176. So what I like here is I've got these three things that are creating my bass sound. I feel like I want to add a little bit more low lows into it. But let's now group these together. So we'll call this bass. I think the phone was going crazy. I think that's Greg D'Angelo probably trying to find out where we're meeting. All right. So, oh, don't need stereo. We're just going to create a mono auxiliary. Okay. And bass sub or auxiliary or whatever you want to call it, bass. Let's have a listen. Make sure it comes in on bus 1. Now, you might think it's crazy I'm starting off with the bass because you'll probably never read any expert that will tell you should start off with the bass. But I feel like this is, for this song, and this is important. This is important. It's important and a really good idea to identify what's driving the song. And just so you know, the bass line is really driving this song. We've got to get the low end out of it, but we've also got to keep the articulation because it's not necessarily The Cure or Joy Division or New Order. It's more like Jane's Addiction, like their version of The Cure and New Order. So that's why we're spending a little bit of time getting that right. Oh, and as Sean is saying, please like and share. Now, I like it to be gritty, and I know that grit, as Kevin is saying, will get sucked up with the guitars. But if it doesn't as much, then that's why we rebalance it. Max bass is great. It's like the more subtle version of R bass. The thing is, I love R bass. It's quick and it's easy. So now I'm going to just quickly high pass again, just to get it out of the way of the kick. So I'm going about 60 and doing a gentle slope. Now, as we're talking, we can grab max bass. I don't mind doing that. We can do that. I'm more of an R bass, quick, dumb guy. I like it to work straight away. But I have no problem with trying that at your suggestion. So here's max bass. All right. I mean, to be honest, all I did was turn up the max bass and you've got the input and the original bass there. If I was just to turn that off for a second and grab R bass, it's even dumber. Because it's just got the intensity of the bass and then the gain. So it's like a mix between the bass sound and then the bass boost. And I was talking to Andrew Sheps about this and he was like, oh, I can believe, Kevin, you put the max bass on the snare. Anything that adds it. I'm going to quickly change this to an REQ4 because I am going to low pass it as well. What? Say it ain't so. Yes, he's going to low pass it. So let's boost the high mids here. So what I'm doing is I'm boosting about 3.5K and then I'm low passing it after that. I don't need anything above that on the bass. I can already tell you I won't hear it and don't need it. And I'm trying to create room for lots of the guitars that are going to happen. Now I'm going to grab, you guessed it, the MV2. All right, that to me is a good, aggressive bass tone that I think will drive the song. If we go to the beginning of it. Now I'm going to reach for the vocal. I just want to see how it's all sitting.
The background, every turn I spiral down, head and hands hard on the floor. No one sees me anymore. Get in your place, put on a face and pretend like nothing's.
All right, let's try in those acoustics. Sorry about that, Lisa. Yes, the low end's coming out the middle, so if you're only hearing distortion on one side, unfortunately, yes, your headphones may be broken.
Get in your place, put on a face and pretend like nothing's wrong. Know where to live, got more to give than you will ever know.
Interesting. The bass feels a little too far behind on that. Big part of what I do when I'm mixing is edit if necessary, and so I'm just going to drag the bass slightly forward.
Get in your place, put on a face and pretend like nothing's wrong. Know where to live, got more to give than you will ever know. Get in your place, put on a face and pretend like nothing's wrong. Know where to live, got more to give than you.
So you see what I was doing? I was just doing some subtle little editing. To me, it's like, it's got to feel right.
Get in your place, put on a face and pretend like nothing's wrong. Know where to live, got more to give than you will ever know.
Okay, so I'm digging where we're at. We'll probably be doing some volume automation, and we might be turning down like distortion channels. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to give away a copy of the Pulse, which is free anyway. You're going to get that, but also all of my IRs. And if you stay to the end, we're going to do 3 copies, and at the very, very end, Bayer DT770s. Yes, Biodynamic are really, really good at looking after their customers. Just so you know. The thing about Biodynamic headphones, thank you for asking, Lisa, it's a good point, is like they built the DT100s, which I believe in Europe are the most successful headphones. And they make them so every part is replaceable. So definitely, Lisa, reach out to whoever you bought the Bayers from, and I'm sure they can get them repaired. That's one thing I will always say about that. Thanks, Matt. I'm glad you like the bass tone. So you're going to win a copy of the Lancaster IRs, my IRs, my actual personal ones. I just want to know one thing. What is your favorite bass plugin? What is the one plugin you cannot live without on bass? What is it? Is it an EQ? Is it R bass, max bass? Is it compressor? What is the one plugin you cannot live without on bass? It's an 808 emulation of a drum machine, Kevin. IR is an impulse response run. So basically, that's what I used with the pulse to add, to basically add a cabinet sound on the end of the amp I was using. And if you don't have a favorite plugin on bass, you can say that too. There's no wrong answer. Okay, I'm wondering if there's some phase issues with the kick. Let's have a look. It looks pretty good, but it sounds thin, so it's the same thing. I think it's essentially because I'm not playing the kick particularly aggressively, and I'm not a great drummer. You know, that's the reality. Not being a great drummer, there's only so much you can do with a not great drummer. Me, I'm pretty average. So that's pretty average kick sound, to say the least. So I'm actually going to grab, let's grab a Moog EQ. We love these guys. So let's grab this. Let's go, and wow, it's interesting. There's not even really. The question is, I might just grab an R bass for that too. Sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. But if I'm going to do that, I'm going to shape the EQ going into it. You'll notice that's something I always do before boosting bass because I don't want it to get too ugly. So I'm going to go at about 30 here, believe it or not. And I don't have to use the REQ. You could have used any particular stock plugin you wanted to. I just know those plugins really well. Okay, and then I'm going to go and grab our old favorite, R bass, which you could do also a max bass, and I'm going to set this at about 60. It's interesting, there's not a lot in it. One thing I am going to do is go to 110 and pull it out. Mike says he's been watching Produce Like a Pro for 27 years longer than we've been going. Interesting that super lows. So I threw in this bootstraps kick here, which I actually believe. Congratulations, Adam London Morris. Yeah, the omni-channel might be what we put on the bus at the end. I'm moving around here, seeing where all of the great sound comes from. This sample I put in honestly sounds the best of all of them. So this evil, it's called the Evil Twin or the Evil. I don't like it for the low end but it's good for the ambience and the high end. So I'm actually going to take this sample here and wipe off everything below about 300. This is the most natural one for me. I'm now going to grab a 4-band EQ and get a little bit more aggressive with the live kick. Cool. So I'm just hearing those two things together. Now I'm going to drop in the more aggressive kick that I've wiped out all of the low end from. And that's all about 1K. You'll notice nothing I'm doing here have I ever done in any of the other songs that we've mixed live. This is very unique to this song. Now this, I am going to get, I'm going to treat this kick drum almost like it is an Abbey Road reverb and use it just for the mid-range. I'm liking what I'm hearing. So what I did, now listen to it in solo and see how bad it sounds. Back with the EQ on. So I'm just using it for that knocking sound, which I can turn up in the choruses with the low end to get it more aggressive. This one I'm using for ambience. I can almost go to about here and turn it up. Put those two together. Add the real kick. And then add my favored sample. Hey, I'm not sure what's going on with you, Todd, but everybody else is hearing in stereo. We're monitoring in stereo as well. Okay, so hopefully you can get that fixed. Okay, so now I'm going to create a stereo subgroup. And we're spending time on this, and we're treating this in a completely different way. As you saw, I've got 4 elements of a kick drum, and I've EQ'd them drastically different, because I want to create one really good kick drum sound. And when we listened to this, we felt like we didn't have the low end that supported it. So we did a bit of work on the bass, and now we're doing some work on the kick. So let's create a group, and we're going to call it, yes, you guessed it, kick. And let's have a listen. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. I like it. Now, I'm not opposed to shaping the low end a little bit more on the kick drum. But you see what I did? I created that kick drum sound, like really using drastic ideas. Now, I'm going to go on our kick sub. excuse me, and boost some low lows. So let's do a quick before and after. Okay, this is what we have if we turn everything off on the kick and the bass. Excuse me. This is the before. And here is the after. So we've added girth to the bass. We've kept the articulation there, but we've added some girth to that bass. Plus, we've given it the body on the kick. Now what we've got, the reason why we started here and with the acoustics is we realized when we listened back that these were the things that were missing from the mix. So now I'm going to add the acoustics back in. Absolutely. Time adjust your microphones so they sound great. Definitely a good idea on bass guitar and kick drums to make sure that the phase is good. So what have we learned here? This is the important thing. What have we learned? And I talk about this a lot when we do the master classes here at the studio, is to listen to the song. If you go back to the beginning, you'll notice I listen to all the multi-tracks and find what the issues are, first of all. Find out what's driving the song. Just applying, like really, what's the word? Dogmatic views don't work. I see some people saying you have to start with the drums, and then I see some people going, no, starting with the drums is the wrong idea. You know what? What is right for the song? And when we listen to this, we realized that there was no like super like big bombastic low end in here. It just sounded thin, and it needed to come from the kick and the bass guitar before we did anything else. So that's where we concentrated on. So again, the lesson is to listen to the song as a whole and make those decisions and find out where you want to start from. All right, let's go back to listening. Okay, so here's the chorus again. All right, now I'm going to throw in the live snare top and snare bottom, which is going to be pretty wimpy because I played it, and I'm not like Mr. Aggressive. Now there's a very, very aggressive snare sample here, which I love. So I'm going to turn that down and blend it in so we can have a listen. Cool. So I'm just messing around here just to see if I got a feel for it. I'm not going to be afraid to listen to things in solo. Obviously how it affects the whole mix, but when you're teaching, you have to listen to things in solo so people can hear. I saw a video recently where there was like 1 or 2 dB difference across a whole mix, and most of the comments were, I can't hear the difference. And I understand it takes time to train your ears to hear these differences. That's the super aggressive one. But it has a ton of ambience on it as well. So I'm now going to actually group all of these together. In fact, if we're going to get really nitpicky, let's group the samples as one together, like so. And treat them independently to the lead. So I'm going to call this snare, samp, bass, sub, auxiliary. How is everybody doing today, by the way? You're all having a marvelous day. And have you already hit the like button? And if you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe. What's interesting about those samples is that you've got the ambience on them. I'm actually tempted just to do a couple of things. First of all, grab the transient designer. So it's kind of fun to grab it there. It's not adding a huge amount of body. And I'm going to let the live snare do that for us. Give us some of the body. So if you've noticed and watched any of this is a totally different way of mixing this song than I would otherwise. I don't have a one size fits all. And I also think it's really important in us learning to see that there's 100 different ways that you can do the job. So let's call this live snare sub. So we're actually going to go and grab the Omni channel. And I want to do a couple of things. The reason why I'm going to grab this is I really like it. Also, I'm going to saturate. It's the live snare. I'm deciding, do I want to gate that snare or not? I'm not sure that I do. Let's hear it with the other elements combined. Now let's turn the gate off. Somebody wants me to solo the snare just to see how much saturation is on. I'll bypass it. Now let's put a little compression. I think if I'm going to put some compression on that snare, I'm going to do it at a parallel stage or something like that. So I agree with David. I think no gate is better. I don't think there's any real need to do that. I'm trying to bring out energy in the drums, and it's me playing, and I'm like, I mean, I'm basically, as a drummer, I'm like, I'm not like, so I have to add some aggression back in. It's still a little random, but I kind of like it. I think we could get a little bit more sophisticated on the drum sound and carve out a little bit more, but let's not get there quite yet. Let's do some fun things. So there's a decent amount of plugins on there, but not that many if you think about it. So what I'm now going to do is create an overall drum bus. So all of these are now going to go to 9 and 10. So that means the snare sample, the live snare, the live kick, and then the remaining elements of the drums are all going to go to 9 and 10. We'll throw that crash cymbal in as well. You know what? No, we'll leave it out. We'll leave the crash cymbal out because it's an overdub and we can automate it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just create a good old-fashioned drum bus. So we'll call this drum bus. Oh, and please, if you haven't already, please like, please share, please join us in the Academy, and you'll get lots more of this lovely stuff. Okay, so now I'm going to make this 9 and 10. And I'm going to grab, I'm going to grab Andrew's channel. So we're going to use Andrew's channel on the whole drum bus. Little bit of saturation, going to go to heavy. Add in some thump down here. I'm actually going to take the saturation off, because if I parallel this, I'm going to go a little bit more nuts. Now, a little bit of EQ. Let's go in, already selected at 350. What I like about Andrew's plugin is Andrew chose frequencies that make sense. One of those, as you know, I always cut 350. He defaults his plugin to 350. He's a smart man. All right, now I'm going to insert another plugin. Well, that's what I love about this, is you can insert, look. By using a little bit of limiting of a couple of dB, you hear the ambience coming up. So far, I haven't had to actually add any reverbs or delays. However, I might as I add more guitars, but I'm building this from the ground up. All right, so now what am I going to do? Well, let's do a little tiny bit of high passing. Just a bit. Okay, now what am I going to do? I am going to go Shift Option D and duplicate this drum bus. So now this drum bus is now duplicated, and I'm going to call this one Crush. And I'm going to mute the other drum bus and have a listen. That's an interesting parallel that I would never normally do. It's very different from what I normally do. But that's what we're doing here. We're making it up as we go. So I'm going to bring that down and then blend it back in with our less destroyed one. So this is quite a different drum mix to what I would normally do. Normally I would spend a lot more time on individual elements and less on a whole bus. But I feel like I want this to be a different kind of song. I want this to be a little bit more like, I want to hear a difference between coming, for instance, from this Hey Mark, I'm using the latest version of Pro Tools, 2019. Yeah, there's some great, I haven't gone into the transition yet, but definitely Kevin. So you can hear, now I could make that drum sound a little bit more pointy. I could have like kick, snare, but I'm actually trying to make it all a little saturated and dark and nasty. I don't want this to be so pretty. Like I said, I'm not worried about the vocal in this. If there's one thing I think we're going to be fine with is the vocal. Now, she has a nasally 600 thing, which we're going to pull out. But in general, that's no compression, no EQ. That's just the vocal sitting on top.
I'm on fire, burning so bright, I'm alive. The very first time I'm on fire, I'm glowing tonight, I'm shining. Finally, you're gonna notice me. I'm on fire, I'm burning so bright, I'm alive. The very first time I'm on fire, I'm glowing tonight, I'm shining. Finally, you're gonna notice me. Feeling second best when I speak.
Oh, you could do a totally acoustic version. So I'm just like playing with it now. I'm going to grab an RVox just generically on this verse so I can hear the vocal like more forward in a minute.
Just how low can you get? Tired of feeling second best when I speak. There's no sound when I falter. Never enough, give it all I got. What have I got to show? No matter how hard that I try, I'm still in your shadow. I'm on fire, I'm burning so bright, I'm alive. The very first time I'm on fire, I'm glowing tonight, I'm shining. Finally, you're gonna notice me.
Cool. So there's a lot of really good questions here. So I want to answer them all because they're all very important. I agree. Yeah, I haven't. A mouth photo on a voice would be great to add the breath in. How did I create the song? Well, Alex was here. She had a guitar. I had a guitar. We wrote the song. She'd go in and sang over the basic acoustic, and then we built it from there. And then she came back and sang a little bit more at the end. What other guitars? Other questions here. And yes, I could hear an acoustic version of this song as well. Anyway, let's do another question to win the IR pack, which is the impulse response. And also, I'm going to use the bathroom, so I'm going to get young Mr. Eric Von Erickson. Eric, so what would be the question? What do you want to know of people? What should we know? Come on, Eric. What do you want to know?
Trying to think of the hundreds of questions we've asked. What's one we have not asked?
It's up to you. You can ask the question. What is it?
No.
Hey, Emily.
Well, since some people are saying this is reminiscent of 90s, what is everyone's favorite 90s band?
Okay, Eric wants to know, what is your favorite 90s band? Eric Von Erickson has arrived. All right, Eric, you're up. Talk to the peeps. What is their favorite 90s band?
Hey, what's up, peeps? Hello, everyone. Hello, the internet. You don't buy coffee, you just rent it. Yeah, the IR packs are pretty freaking awesome, Alex. They're like, I haven't heard all of the IR packs that are out there on the internet yet, but these ones are really nice. I guess I've heard a lot of the stock ones. Not I don't mean to say stock like it's bad. There's a lot of great ones out there. These ones are different. You'll enjoy them. Yes, 90s Metallica. Yes. Oh my God, the answers are just insane. They just keep coming. Let's see. I see Tool, Bush, Nirvana, of course, Pearl Jam. It's so funny that a lot of the 90s bands that everyone's mentioning are just, I don't know. I guess to me they just remind me of my childhood, which is strange because, you know, Warren talks about his childhood and he brings up, you know, Queen and I mean, everyone. I don't want to get anything wrong from his childhood, but all the bands that he listens to, it's like, oh man, like I need to go back and I need to listen to those bands because I've only heard what's on the radio. And then everything you guys are naming off, U2, Exodus, Dixie Chicks, Pennywise, all these bands are bands that I grew up on, and it's crazy. I think I recognize every single one of them. A lot of Nirvana's, Tools, Alice in Chains. There's definitely a pattern with the 90s bands. Dustin, the question was, since this song is reminiscent of 90s, what is your favorite 90s band? And aside from that question, does anyone have any questions that we can discuss when Warren is gone? I can tell you guys secrets. Well, maybe not secrets. I don't actually know any secrets. Stone Temple Pilots. Favorite 1890s? That's good. 90s band is Muse. Which albums of their, like, which of their albums came out in the 90s? I love all their stuff. They're even the first, I don't even think it was the first EP, or yeah, the first album was an EP, not an album, I think. And it's just awesome. Those guys just came out hitting hard. How much of the mixing work do I do? I prep mixes. I outboard everything to the console. Warren has taught me how he likes everything to hit the console, so I pretty much set all the levels, get recalls going, and get it to as good of a spot that I can, and then Warren takes it from there, and he just, you know, does his thing. Looks like the red special's. No, red special's okay. It looks that way, but.
What, the red special?
Yeah.
Lying on its side a little bit.
It's crazy, all the bands that they're naming of the 90s. It's like, oh my God, like I grew up on all that. Like that's what I would say is you know.
Right.
Like my childhood stuff. It's crazy.
So, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Please hit that like button. That would be absolutely fantastic. There's about 300 people watching. If we can get this up to 300 likes, that would be absolutely fantastic. We're going to do one more giveaway in a minute. And not only will it be for the IR pack, but it'll also be for a 3 years membership to the Academy. And so please hit the like button. That would be absolutely stupendous. I'm really sorry. The video was unlisted and not many people found out about it for a while. So I apologize for that. Okay. Let us have a listen to where we's at, and then we'll do one more competition. So I don't know if you guys and girls hear it the same way I do. I think the mix is very I like it. It's not like really, really smoothed out. Like I normally would get in here, and I was saying this earlier, and carve out even more room for individual drums. So I think there's a couple of things I can do to help that situation. So firstly, let's grab all the elements of the drums and group them. So I'm now going to create a mix. This is just going to be like all drums. So we can solo the drums for a second, have a listen. See, I would normally have that snare a lot more sort of rounded in your face. I like it because I'm trying to make this mix feel more aggressive and dirty sounding. So let me just... Yeah, Ben's saying it's a little rawer than I would normally mix. Normally, I would go in here and be a little bit more deliberate about it, but there is a rawness that I like. Keith, it's the whole mix went to the Drum Crush. I just duplicated the plugin and the bus and everything and just crushed it more. I always pan drums from a listener's perspective, but I know a lot of people that are drummers that mix from a performance perspective, and both ideas are right. I want to stay away from the acoustic. I want to hear what the electrics are doing. Don't even want to hear that yet. Let's have a listen. That's super mid-rangey. Now let's have a listen to these two. So this would be my Marshall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 4 guitars, which are the driving rhythm guitars, and put them out of their own bus. So let's get those 4. And we'll call them Rhythm Guitars Chorus. Okay. And then let's create a stereo bus for that. And we'll call that Rhythm Guitars. You guessed it, Chorus. I'm very literal when I name things. The reason why I'm probably more literal than some people is when you come to open up a session a year later and you can't figure out what the heck you did because you're using RG1Q97, which you think makes sense to you at the time, but then makes absolutely no sense when you come back. So, all right, I am now going to just grab an EQ. Let's go for a 4-band. Again, something generic. We'll go to a good old favorite REQs. And I already went to 90 and wiped it off. Let's throw the bass in and the drums. And then we'll go down about 2-ish, about 200-ish, and do a little bump. What I'm going to do is I'm bumping it at 200, and it's being cut at 110. Being cut at 110. I might even go a little higher, like 140, and boost that 200. And have a listen. You see what happens? And I've demonstrated this before. Boosting at 200 where the actual controlled low end is of a guitar and then wiping off at about 140 actually sounds like there's more low end on the guitar, which has had all of that 140 or so removed. It's interesting because if you take the actual fundamental and enhance it, you enhance those high mids, it's amazing what it does. So now I'm going to go gently about 3 to 5K. Now I'm going to low pass. One thing I noticed about Neil Avron when he was mixing something I was working on is he used to give more of this kind of scoopy boom and fizz on the guitars. He would actually, and I'll show you, and this was on an SSL, he would take about 2K and pull it down a little bit. Let's have a listen. So despite the boosting, there's a lot more cutting going on than boosting. I'm just enhancing the bits that we like and removing the stuff we did. And that's all of the rhythm guitars grouped together. So just a little 2K down there, a little 4 or 5K, gone up to about 7, cut that, some 200. I mean, really, really simplistic EQ, but such a massive difference. And as Christian is saying, it definitely sounds like the amp that it is, because it is a Marshall. And it sounds like the Marshall because it has that kind of, but it has an exaggeration of what we like about it. Now I feel like we've got the aggression in the song that we were already, No, I don't want to, good question, Lisa. No, I wanted to treat them as a group. The only other thing I might do now is enhance the stereo width by taking this group here and duplicating it. Didn't do anything special to the hi-hat yet. I kept it as it is. Keep the EQ as it is and call this verb. Now, you might think I'm crazy, but I'm going to now grab a reverb, and again, we'll go generic, comes free with Pro Tools. We'll go to like a medium room. Now, this is sending the whole bus into it, but what am I going to do? I'm going to reverse the panning. So all of the panned right guitars are now sending reverb to the left. And I'm going to turn it down, and we'll start blending it in. I absolutely love that. To me, when you take this on and off, the guitars feel wider. Love it. Absolutely love it. Just adds that energy. Really cool. Okay, gonna put in our little Ace 08 up here. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I mean, that 2K dip, that's not me. That is pure Neil Avron. So I was looking over his shoulder because he mixed half the Aerosmith record and I mixed the other half. And I was also, I was the tracking engineer on the album as well. So I saw what he was doing with my recorded guitars. And he was just taking a little 2K on the SSL and just ducking out a little bit and then doing a little boost. And it helps the snare breathe. Okay, I think when we come back on Thursday, we'll get into these high guitars here. I don't think at the moment. We've got the basis of the song now. It feels like we have the toughness. There's tons more to do. Tons and tons and tons. But we have what was lacking. What was lacking was the low end and that big chorus kind of energy. It was sounding too small. We've brought that back, so we did great work. Thank you, everybody. Okay, our last giveaway is going to be for my IR pack. and also for a year's membership to the Academy. If you're already a member, you'll get an extension of a year. And if you're a lifetime member, we will give you any free courses you want. So please hit that like button. That would be absolutely amazing. 270 people watching. Lovely. If we can get it to 270 likes, that would be stupendous. I don't know who was the 90s band that won? And I'm sorry, a little under the weather today. I apologize. It was which band? Crash Test Dummies and Nirvana. Wonderful. So remember, if you're in the Academy, please go and download this multi-track. So when you come back on Thursday, we'll be working on it, and you can do that. If you're not a member of the Academy, please sign up, and you can download these multi-tracks. There's about 40 in there, and they are increasing every single month. So please hit that like button. Lifetime membership an option. Ron, well, not as a grand prize yet. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Okay, so my question is to you all. What do I want to know? What is your favorite EQ? What is your favorite EQ? Because we just saw how a really simple REQ comes, it's like, doesn't come free, but it's the most basic, been around forever Waves plugin. Just totally changed everything. What is your favorite EQ you use on guitars? Is there one that you love that you use on guitars? Thanks Shmuel Rosenblatt, great name. That's a fantastic name, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. When you have a name like, my middle name is Mordaunt, and my last name is Huart, so you can tell I've had all kinds of stuff. SSL, Fab Filter. Favorite EQ on guitars? APO 550, good answer. REQ, Pro Q2. This is to win the Warren's IR pack, Impulse Response, and also a 1 year's membership to the Academy. And if you're not already an Academy member, please join us. That would be absolutely stupendous. Join us. Mic placement, Fab Filter, SSL, API, Neves, Waves. Whatever is closest is a good answer. What was I in Harry Potter? That was a lookalike. That was somebody who looked just like me was in Harry Potter, who probably shaved, unlike myself. Gavin Jack says the mic position is his EQ. That is definitely the beginning of it, yes. Overloud, IK, Neve 1073, Style 1s, Pro EQ in Studio 1, UAD, guitars, Waves REQ, SSL Native, Waves VEQ, TDR, Studio 1, Pro EQ, EQ like BAE, SSL. And this is to win the IR pack and also a year's membership to the Academy. Okay, I'll have a quick listen. Congratulations, Johnny. All right, marvelous. You all absolutely rock. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us today. Lovely to see you here. Please keep asking questions after YouTube has allowed this to go. Please ask us more questions about this, about the mix. As you can tell, if you watch all my streaming mixes, every time I mix, I do things in a different way, just to prove to you there is no one way. I don't always start with the drums. I don't always start with the vocals. I try to decide what is best. And when we listen to this, if you go back to the beginning, you'll notice the thing that was lacking was this girth, was this kind of power from the low mids and the low end. So we addressed that first. Then we added the heavy guitars and did the same thing. That is the way that we're mixing this song. Oh, it was fun, Sean. My daughter took her first skiing lesson. All right. You all absolutely rock. Look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Don't forget to leave some more comments and questions below. Remember, there is no one way to do this. It's all about sharing all of the different ideas. Please go through, watch all of our different streaming ones, and you'll get to see just how different you can do all of these things and how you can all make this absolutely amazing. And in the Academy, don't forget to, if you're already a member, to download this. If you haven't joined the Academy yet, just go to producelikeapro.com and you can sign up there and you can join. It is very inexpensive and it's super supportive, and you will get to find a lot of really, really great people. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing. See you all again very soon.